Okay, I got the web frames fitted in there. Took a little bit of gentle persuasion from my hammer, but not much. So let me get you focused on there. Okay, so what we're going to do next is put some biscuits in here. I'm going to use these lines right here. This is the front of the project. This is where the drawer front is right here, where my finger is. So that's the drawer front. Excuse me. I'm going to use the glue seams themselves where the two pieces meet on the web frames to align my biscuit cutter. Make some marks there, marks there, marks there, and marks there. And then while I'm in this situation, I know everything fits. I'm going to put the letter A and the letter A right there, so that when I put it back together, I know where the A's line up is where I want that to be. So I'm going to repeat that process. Let me see if I can put this thing over here. Throw it on the bench. And I'll draw my lines on the bottom and make my biscuit cuts there. So let me get that situated and we'll come back and show you how to make those biscuit cuts. Okay, so I'm set up on my biscuit cutter here. I wanted to make sure that the settings haven't changed. So I'm going to look on the back side again to make sure that I'm on 20. So that 20 is lined up with that red dot there. And then when I put my biscuit cutter on my plywood, the bottom of the biscuit cutter is lined up with the bottom of the 3/4 inch plywood like we talked about before. So that's just a double check to make sure that we're looking good. So here's my B for the bottom, right here. And then my lines are right there. So I'm gonna make a biscuit cut here. And then we'll go to the project and make a corresponding biscuit cut so that when we put it together, hopefully it all lines up. Okay, so just so you saw what I did, we're gonna line up the biscuit cut with that pencil mark like that, and then plunge into it, just like we did on the to make the web frame. Okay, on the project itself, it's a little bit different. We have to kind of sneak inside the project to make our cut. So what that looks like is here's my B right there. You can't see it, but and my lines, let me get you in tighter so you can kind of see what I'm seeing here. There we go. So there's my line right there. So what I got to do is come in from the inside of the project to make that cut. I had the same setup back here on my back rail, so my line's here. So I'll start with the back rail, show you how to do that, and then off camera I'll finish the rest of them out. It's a little bit funky, but it's doable. So let me clamp this down and then show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to sneak the biscuit cutter inside of here like that. And I can't really show the lining up process, but it's lined up. Make sure it's situated where it wants to be. And then make the cuts. All right, we'll do the rest off camera. On hindsight, maybe a better way would be to do your biscuit cuts. So take your rails out, put it in a vise. That way you're not trying to get awkwardly inside of the project while you're making your cut. So that's what I'm going to do, is just stick my rails in a vise and make my biscuit cuts, making sure I don't cut on the wrong side, because if you do, you're going to end up with biscuit cuts on the outside of your project. So probably a little cleaner way of doing things, and I'll finish these off camera. Okay, so finished up my biscuit cuts off camera. I'm going to line up all these biscuit cuts with my web frames, and then cross my fingers to see if I did it right, because I haven't checked this before I started filming. And we'll see how things go. So again, I want to line up my B's and B's and A's and A's. So I see my two B's, I'm going to put those together. I'm going to put my two A's together. And then I didn't make any marks here, so I should have. That'll probably be all right. Okay, so I got this whole assembly here. What I'm gonna try to do is stick it back in this other assembly to see if it all fits together. Awkward. I could pull the whole thing apart, which I probably should. Let's see if it goes together. Let's see here. Get you better situated to see my trials and tribulations of trying to get this thing back together here. So. Line up my mortise and tenons, and this might be a two-person job. Okay, so it looks like it's going to go together just fine. Off camera, I'll just do some final little tweaks to make sure it looks all good, and then I'll go ahead and glue it together. So you don't need to see that. All right.